Hi guys, I'm Craig Williams, co-founder of the Conquer Food program, and in this little video I want to introduce the Conquer Food community. So basically in the Conquer Food community you can get all the skills, training and support you need in order to go from frustrated food addict to binge and sugar free in 90 days. The byproduct being an immense amount of weight loss and actual complete control over food and eating in your life, whether it's emotional or cravings and all that kind of stuff. So like I said, my name's Craig Williams. Paula and I, who's my wife, launched a very powerful extreme weight loss program about 4 years ago now called the Conquer Food program. Now previously you had to do 12 weeks residential. You'd basically come away, put your life on hold, walk away from your kids, your job, and invest up to £12,000 to come and do this 12-week program. Now recently we've taken all the lessons and the training and the support that we give on these residential programs that have helped the people on the screen scorch sometimes up to 100 kilos available to you right now on the web, and that's what this little community is about. We've also done some work on Sky TV and ITV and the Jeremy Kyle Show. We've been featured in many tabloids and publications, from That's Life to Condé Nast to the Telegraph, to the Sun and all sorts of different magazines. And basically, we have made a very strong reputation on getting results when other diets and workout programs have failed. Well, how do we do that? We have a process that we use to bring about change, and we basically have what I've got on the screen now is what we call our binge-free freedom finder, which kind of explains people's journey from feeling trapped and controlled by food, and the steps that they've got to take to feel like they're just running free and they're completely in control of their eating habits, and they have a love for training, and obviously the byproduct of that is a great image, finally being able to lose weight and keep it off for good, being completely in control of food, and loving life, being absolutely brimming with pride and self-esteem. And these are the steps that we kind of work people through. We kind of focus on the people that are either frustrated or starting to focus, and what these, some of the symptoms of these people are. The people down here that are frustrated, they're kind of ready to change. They've made a decision that they're ready to change, and they want their life to be better. They want to lose a certain amount of weight. They want to start controlling their emotional eating and their cravings and all that kind of stuff. It's just perhaps the things that they're trying and not really working out. So they come quite frustrated. It feels like they've kind of tried everything and not really made any progress, or always ended up back where they were before. And they've tried a whole range of different diets and exercise programs, and perhaps they're even in the gym now just slogging it out day after day after day, and they've actually plateaued, and they're kind of wondering, what do I need to do in order to get to the next level? The next level are people that have kind of broke through that a little bit. They're actually more active. They're starting to enjoy exercise. Like I said, they're probably training very, very regularly, but still not either making enough progress or quick enough progress. Okay, so it might be that they've hit a plateau, or that they've got an extreme amount of weight to lose, and although they're getting fitter, they're not really seeing progress in their own image. As well as that, they're still plagued by binge eating, occasional binge eating, or emotional drivers to eating the wrong foods, okay, pretty regularly. And then, what we want to do is take people from these two layers here and bring them up here to food free. And this is kind of, what we pride ourselves on doing, where they're completely free from any kind of food addiction or guilt surrounding food, and they're brimming with pride and self-esteem, and they've got the image, the body image, and the body composition, their health that they want and that they deserve. And down here, the keys to that is kind of living positively, controlling food messages around the body and energy flow around the body. Okay, and I'm going to kind of talk to you about how we bring about this change. All right, so finally we've got a framework. We've got easy to follow steps that bring about change in your body image, regardless of the type, regardless of any previous fitness or anything like that. And we kind of do it from the inside out. Lots of health programs and fitness programs and diets and that, they kind of tackle the symptoms of obesity or of poor eating habits, which is like the twigs on a tree. They're like the twigs and small branches. Now the trouble is there are thousands and thousands of them, and you seem to need a different program to do different things, and to get rid of all those problems takes a hell of a lot of effort, and no wonder you're sort of caught in this cycle of never really making any real progress. So what we do is we look at the root causes. We look at the trunks of the tree, if you like, where, if we can hit the trunk, all right, or hit the roots, then the benefits and everything will be expressed in the fruits of the tree. And that's kind of how we play it. And we do it in like 3 layers. So we have the first layer. So if you was on the residential program, you would do about 3 or 4 weeks looking at beliefs. What do you believe about exercise? What do you believe about food? What do you believe about yourself in relation to those things? Our next phase is then habit change, because the results we have right now are the results of a lifetime of the habits that you've had. And if they haven't served you, if they've been negative habits, then this is why we haven't got the results that we want, the body composition we want, the eating habits we want, the understanding of food and all this kind of stuff that we need in order to make change. So our second phase, we do a lot of work on controlling habits, changing habits, breaking habits that are not serving you, not just of habits like physical actions that you do, but also reactions to events in life. So many times we will turn to food as the default answer if we've had a good day, if we've had a bad day, if somebody's upset us or we've been embarrassed, often we will turn to food. We need to look at those reactions and change those reactions in order to get some different results. Our final phase, we do a lot of work on actually changing the lifestyle that you've got, because you become the sum of all the things that surround you, including the places, the people, the jobs that you've got, the places where you eat and all this kind of stuff. We become the sum of all that. And we need to clean out some of that. We need to keep the stuff that empowers us and helps us progress. And we kind of need to take a step away from the things that are not helping us and they're not empowering us. So the third stage then is a lot about the life change. Okay, so they're the kind of the 3 main areas. And what I want to do now is I just want to delve down into each one of these little tiles just to explain it a little bit more, because in the Conquer Food community, this is where we go very, very deep. In fact, each part of these steps we've broken out into small, easy to consume videos. We're backed up with cheat sheets and training cards and checklists, so that you can implement these things pretty quickly. What we can also do then is we can take what's previously been a £12,000 program and give it to you online with support for a fraction of that. And I would say that the price that we are offering this out at right now at this pre-launch phase is less than a couple of bingers in the local supermarket. Okay, so let me just deep dive down into these phases then. So the first one that we spend a lot of time working on is actually committing to change. There are so many people that talk a lot about change, and they kind of say that they want things to be different, but when they start, when you start having to explain what they need to give up, what they need to do, it kind of changes their take on things, and they're not truly committed then, because the story I always tell is, my wife Paula, who is my fellow coach on the Conquer Food program, and actually does a lot of the emotional stuff and the one-to-one coaching. She had a real fear of putting her head under the water in the sea, and we went snorkeling in Egypt one year. And I was diving down and I was picking up shells and I was looking around and going crazy about the different fish and the different colours and the different animals flying swimming around the coral reef. And but Paula was just like so scared to put her head under because she wouldn't be able to breathe, and she was worried about putting the snorkel in her mouth and the mask on her face. But something overrode that, and it was the desire to look at the fish. The desire to look at the fish and see what I was going crazy about was far more powerful than the fear of putting the mask on and not being able to breathe. And because of the power of that desire, everything was easy. She put the mask on, and then, within seconds, she was an absolute convert. And every time we go abroad now, we go snorkeling. And that just shows the power of this commitment to change, this reason to do it, this desire for things to be different. Because without that, you're not going to go through the steps that you need to go. Something's got to be, you've got to truly commit to doing the hard yards, the hard steps, in order to sort of build up enough experience and knowledge and desire and motivation and momentum for things to be different for you long term for the rest of your life. The next thing that we kind of talk is only accepting what empowers you. Now, what I mean by that is, we are kind of negativity conductors. We draw in negativity from all over, from media to the people around us, and I was watching a clip on the TV, a program called Last Tango in Halifax. I was born in Halifax, so I was kind of a little bit intrigued, although I don't watch a great deal of TV. And the opening scenes with this woman just so negative about everything. Oh, such and such is doing this, and this coffee's horrible, and I could have done better than this, and blah, blah, blah. And that's what life is like. It's just so full of negatives. And as well as that, there were so many negatives surrounding us when we was growing up. How many times did a teacher say, you're never going to amount to anything? How many times did, somebody say, well, you're always going to be fat, or you're rubbish at sport? And how many times were you last to get picked for the team at games? Or, and the thing is, all these things, we remember them, but it doesn't empower us now. And we kind of need to decide, there's a whole host of lessons that we've learned in the past, but there's a whole load of crap as well, and we need to decide what lessons we need to take into the future and are going to help us, and what lessons we can leave behind. And then we need to know how we can leave that stuff behind. So in the second stage, then, we talk about only accepting what empowers you, what's going to build a momentum to push you on. In the third stage, we talk about nurturing a powerful why, and we help you develop a huge reason that just, it will just obliterate any obstacle that gets in your way, because you truly want this. And quite often when we meet people that come on the Conquer Food program, the residential program, we'll talk to them about, what is your why? And they don't know. They've never really thought about it. They just feel like it's something they should do. And, we're never going to stick to something that we should do for very long. We will always stick to something that we want to do much, much longer. And that's what it's about. So we will run you through a number of exercises to enable you to identify what your why is. But then not only just identify what it is, but then really, really agitate it. Really sort of work it up into a bit of a frenzy so that it's really, really powerful. And it's going to pull you through all the obstacles and all the challenges that you're going to face. Okay, into the sort of second stage. So this would be like habit change, really. And we look at it in a couple of different ways. We look at the thoughts, the habitual thoughts that you have, the habitual emotions. We look at the habitual actions that you take, because there are some, things that you do habitually that you just, you don't even think about. And then we look at the habitual reactions that you take to life events and certain situations and circumstances. And basically we sum all this up by saying, these next four stages. The first one being quit moaning and being a victim. You are in control of your results. Okay, you might, life at the minute might not be supporting great health, or you might be short of money and you feel like you can't buy health food because you haven't got the budget, or you've got to cook for your family, or work's busy and all this kind of stuff. But ultimately all that is a choice. It's a choice that you've made, and I know that's really, really hard to accept sometimes, because we feel like these are the cards that we've been dealt. But it doesn't mean that we cannot change the way that we look at these things. It doesn't mean that we can go from moaning about it, where we're powerless to change anything, to thinking, well, how could it be different? Or, can I look at this in a slightly different way? because by doing that, we now become much more powerful. Now we can break free of the rut that this moaning negativity and playing the victim has caught us in. And it's quite an easy step for you to take. And the biggest thing that kind of gives away this negativity and this playing the victim is the language that you use to ourselves and to other people. Which brings us on to this next stage, which is use positive language. Things like the perfect example there you can see on the screen. Instead of saying I can't do it, just clipping off, the comma and the T, so you can do it, and slight changes in language can just have a huge difference. I always talk about a guy. Let me just flick back through. Excuse me for going through these slides, but let me just go back to this guy here, Jonathan from the Jeremy Kyle Show, who lost 7 stone with us in his 12-week stay, which was in conjunction with the Jeremy Kyle Show. Now Jonathan was, he didn't. A lot of the strategies that we take, it takes a lot of persistence and it takes a lot of consistency to get it, to make it settle in and just be there permanently for the rest of your life. And Jonathan didn't really grab a load of those things, but what he did do is he took the use of positive language and a couple of words that we teach you which completely change your life, a couple of 3-letter words that are so powerful, and all he used was those, and he completely revolutionized his life. And he's gone from sort of worried about not being around when his son grows old to being able to kick a football around with him in the park and living life to the full. He's got a full-time job now, and he's more than 7 stone down, because when he finished the program he went away and he carried some of those habits and the use of positive language on, and he's never ever going to look back now. Things are going to always be different. The next stage is to escape forward. We everybody needs to escape from life at different times, because things are getting on top of us, we're getting stressed, or we just need to relax, we just need a little bit of a break from work or the family or whatever. But the majority of the time we escape backwards. What that means is we don't really progress when we're escaping. So we're watching mindless TV or listening to music which doesn't really stimulate our minds or help us grow as people, and we kind of become stagnant. And we talk about a living room, but really in most living rooms around the country now, we're not living in there. We're dying. We're getting worse. We're sitting around doing less and less and less because we're escaping backwards. We're going to create the habit of escaping forwards, whether it's reading and learning about the things that you need to learn in order to get the results you want, or whether it's stimulating the brain or having better conversation or doing different activities, starting to enjoy fitness and going to the gym or going training, walking and generally being a bit more active. But basically escaping forward, where every time we do something which is like a relaxing activity, a way of escaping, is progressive for us and it allows us to grow. So we're going to teach you, or we're going to make that habitual for you. The next one is kind of ruling your state. And what I mean by that is, in our minds, what kind of controls our behaviour quite often is the state that we are in, whether we're angry, frustrated, embarrassed, ashamed, sad, happy, all these things. These are states in our body, and the state kind of determines the behaviour, the acts that we do with our body. And I'm pretty sure you've not thought about it in this way in the past, but if you can change your state, you can change the results you're going to get. And let me give you an example there. Let's say that you get up in the morning and you get out of bed, you stand on the little boy's toy, you bit of Lego or whatever. We all know how painful that is. You stand on the little bit of Lego and you're like, bloody hell, that bloody hurt. And then as you're walking out the room, you stub your toe on the door and you're like, bloody God, it's going to be a shocking day. And then you go to the bathroom and you turn on the shower and the kids have used all the hot water, so you've got a cold shower. And by now it's just like, no, this is going to be one of those days. It's going to be so negative. And you go through the day looking for the negatives in life, and then you get to the point and go, I can't be bothered to go to the gym now, or I just want some food to cheer me up. I want to go and have a little bit of a binge or some chocolate. It's going to make me feel a little bit better. But the problem is it doesn't make you feel better for long. And we teach you the techniques and tricks that you need to learn in order to control your state, to rule it so that you govern it. It doesn't govern you. So many people are walking around and they're controlled by these states, and they're completely unaware that you can actually change it, and you can change it for the better. And we're going to teach you a couple of little habits that you can create where you can change your state instantly just by moving the body, doing something different, changing the way that you're thinking and the way that you sort of accept these feelings in the body which control your behavior. This is powerful stuff. Fill your life with positivity. I mean, positivity is banded around a lot nowadays with mindfulness and meditation, all this kind of stuff. But the problem is, we at any one time absorb millions of bits of information, yet we only really pick out the negatives. Our brains have been developed to find the negatives in things, and usually we kind of concentrate on that. So everything looks negative. But similar to when you're getting ready to buy a new car and you think, all right, I'm going to buy a little yellow Mini, and because there's not many of them around. And then you go and pick up your nice shiny yellow Mini, and then as you're driving home, you see loads of little yellow Minis. And, the question is, were those Minis there before, or they just appeared because now you've got a yellow Mini? Of course they was always there before. And positivity is there as well. Your life is full of great things, amazing things. And until you start expressing gratitude and appreciating what you've got, you're not going to recognize it. But whilst ever concentrate on the negative, it's same again. We are constantly looking for something else to cheer us up, usually food. Or some other, it's another excuse not to go and train because you know what? You don't feel like it. And a lot of the results you've got right now is because when push comes to shove, you don't feel like it. You don't feel like going without the pizza tonight. You don't feel like going without the bottle of wine or the glass of wine or you don't feel like going home and cooking. You don't feel like, you want to make a healthier food choice in the motorway services and all this kind of stuff. But when we start to control our feelings through positivity, we can control all these decisions and we can make these things much, much easier to do. The next thing that we talk about, and we're getting towards the end now, is we teach you to own your choices. And what I mean by that is that, they are yours. And my wife Paula, who coaches on the Conquer Food program, she has a saying where she says, why would you give the steering wheel of your life and happiness to somebody else? Why would you let someone else control that? And quite often we think that everything that we've got and the choices that we have are not our choices. They're made by somebody else and we've just got to go with it. And that's not the case at all, And there's a saying that only dead fish go with the flow. We need to teach you, we're going to run you through a number of exercises to show you how you can make a choice, And there's always a smarter choice, but quite often we get so caught up in the negativity and the things that we cannot influence, the things that concern us, that we miss the things that we can actually change. We miss any opportunity that we can to have a better outcome regarding food, fitness, or health. So the next one is only you can do this. We teach you that nobody's going to come along and just give you the results you want. If only it was that easy, I could just flick a switch and everybody be happy and full of self-esteem and confidence, and then have the body and the image that they want. But that's not how it works. You've got to fight for this. Only you can do this. The good thing is that the world really is in your hands. It means that only you can do this, but only you can smash this out of the park as well. Only you can get incredible results and completely change your life. So it's you that's down the pub or down the gym or whatever bragging about these amazing results, and it's down to you. You've got to take ownership of this. And the minute that you realise that there is no quick fix pill or potion, you are going to be so empowered to change. And then the final one is that we need to decide that you are able, that you are now. You may have beliefs now where you kind of think, well, nothing's going to be any different. It's always going to be like this. I'll always be big. I've been big boned all my life. I just cannot control food. Food controls me. But you can. You can. You are more than able to take all this on, and we run you through exercises where we embed this into your brain, deep down into your subconscious mind that controls a lot of the decisions we make, and change all that for you. Okay, so let me just go a little bit deeper into the Conquer Food community itself, so you kind of get a better understanding of what it is. It's made up of 4 key elements, really, and these key elements, I don't really know anybody that has made significant changes in their life that has lasted for a very long time without these 4 key elements. So let me kind of run through them. So that we class them as what's called a M.A.P.S environment, and the M.A.P.S stands for one of these core elements. So the M stands for mentoring and coaching. You kind of need mentoring coaching because success does leave clues. There is a roadmap to success, and there's pretty simple steps. And we're not on this planet long enough to learn everything that we need to know in order to get the things that we want. We've got to learn off other people. We've got to learn off people that have tread that path, that have got experience and can show us the way. And the mentoring and coaching will do that. The next thing you need is accountability. The things that kind of just that little extra push to do the things that you need to do, which, let's face it, when you first get started, you're not going to want to eat healthy food because pizza tastes much better for you right now. In time, the pizza will taste horrendous. And my wife, Paula, she refused to drink a Lemsip last night because she sipped it and it just tasted so sweet that it was revolting to her. And we can get you to that point where, some of these foods are so supercharged on our taste buds, but we don't recognize the taste. Our taste has been messed around with. The accountability just gives you that extra little push when it's needed, because success is about doing the best you can when no one's looking, and we're going to hold you accountable from that. Peer support is an incredibly powerful aspect to changing your life. Having people around you that have tread the same path, that are on the same journey, that have struggled with the same obstacles and beasts and all this kind of stuff, and have got similar habits, but had similar breakthroughs as well, and it's immense to know that you're part of a community that are all going through the same things, and just knowing they're there is incredibly empowering and gives you such confidence, and you can bounce different ideas off them, and they can share their experiences with you and can learn from you, and you can very rapidly benefit from all these people in the same boat as you, but also become a leader, become someone that inspires and motivates other people. And people in this peer support group, when you first get started, they're going to be like, you're going to be like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing, I'm just finding my feet. But at some point you're going to become the leader, and people are going to be asking you, how have you done it, and all this kind of stuff. And it's usually those times when we suddenly turn around and realise just how much progress we've made. And then the final S of the M.A.P.S environment is strategies and frameworks. Okay, and we've put a lot of work into creating these strategies and frameworks where you can look at the clear next step, and that's what it's about. It's about always having a clear next step, because what we often do when we first start losing weight and gaining control over food is we run a certain strategy, but that only gives you the results that strategy gives you. The saying is that the skills that got you out of Egypt are not the same skills that will get you to the promised land. And this is exactly what we're talking about. You need a different strategy based on the different sort of level or different stage that you're at. Right now, if you're just getting started, it might be that we just need to get white carbohydrates out your diet. We need to get rid of the refined sugar and run that for a month. Okay, and then after that, we might need to be looking at some of the tiny little vitamins and minerals to help you in your next stage and the next stage and the next stage. So it's all these strategies and frameworks at the right time. The last thing you want to be doing now is like running some mega optimized nutrition plan that an Olympian would work with, when we're still trying to beat we're trying to get from an extra large pizza down to a small pizza on a Friday night, or go from a full bottle of wine down to a small glass of sparkling water or something like that. There's different strategies and frameworks for different stages in your health, fitness and weight loss journey. So what does it take to win? And we imagine now we're on the start line. Here we go. Wherever you are, whatever level you're at in the binge freedom finder, like I showed you before. Well, here it is. Here's the Conquer Food community, as I mentioned it before. Basically, it consists of online training where we've broken out all those 11 steps from the Conquer Food framework, and we go deep into all those kind of things and give you lots of worksheets and checklists. We have weekly training webinars where either Paul or myself will jump on there, and basically they're geared towards getting you out of a rut. And we're also releasing more and more online training every week. You've got your recipes and programs that are going to help scorch fat and build health in your body. Make sure you've got enough vitamins and minerals, and also, these recipes and programs will demonstrate how you can put food together so that you're getting the right messages from food as well as the right fuel and nutrients from food. And then the final one is the community. So let me just sort of deep dive down into these. So basically the core training. Now, the value of the core training, you would only get this if you came on a residential program in the past, which would cost you between £8,000 and £12,000, which is obviously, it's not available to a lot of people because of price, because they can't have 12 weeks away from their family, they can't have 12 weeks away from work and all these things, and that's fine. This is why we brought about the online training. Now, we are constantly updating this training and constantly adding new training to make sure that it's up to date and it's at the right standard and giving you the right information. It's clear to understand, and it's backed up by the worksheets and checklists. And I, a very, very conservative, guess of the value of this. I think you could easily sell it for around £2,000. The weekly webinars themselves, these are highly specific to whoever's on the call, whoever's on the training call there. We will dive deep into the what's got you in a rut so you can break free of the rut and get moving forward. And these coaching, if you had Paul and mine hourly rate for an hour to an hour and a half every day, it's easy in the region of £200 for the weekly webinars. The worksheets and checklists, these alone, we've invested so much time and knowledge into creating these so that everybody's got a real simple next step, and they can sit there with a very clear worksheet where they can kind of work through it and do a lot of their thinking on paper, because the faintest pencil is stronger than the best memory. So you've got all these worksheets and checklists, really clear, really concise, and giving you the information that you need, true information, easily valued at £67. In addition, you've got your recipes and cooking demos, which we have in the past sold the cookbook and the cooking demonstration videos and all the recipes for £67. And then the Conquer Food community, where we had a similar kind of coaching program in the past, and we charged that out at £47. So you might be kind of thinking, well, how much is all this going to cost? If we added all those things up, and we did it over 3 months, because we said we can completely change your life in 90 days, then it comes to just short of £2,500 for the total value. But that's not what we're going to charge it for today. As well as that, because this is a pre-launch offer, we also want you to be really aware and clear that any future content that we create for the Conquer Food community, you've got complete access to. Okay, in effect, if we create new lessons, new courses, new frameworks or whatever, it's all going to go in there, and you're going to have access to all that, and you're going to get first access before anybody else. So here it is. Here's our pre-launch offer right now. In effect, you can do one payment of $199 or 3 payments of £69, and in effect what you get is 12 months membership for the price of 3 months. Why is that? Well, like I said, this is pre-launch. The website we're still building the website. It's going to launch now within 6 days with the preliminary training on there, which is going to be more than enough to get you going and getting a good head start as we start to add the other, the finishing touches and the cherries on the top, to be honest. But we are going to charge this out significantly more in the future. And this is an opportunity to get a small band of people. You've limited this to 10 people for this week, to to try this out, to give us some feedback, and to pay a little bit less, because perhaps they're going to get a little bit less initially, but they're going to help us forge the right product, delivering the right information in the right manner. And we're hoping that that is you. To join then, you can click on the button below and it'll take you to this link, www.conquerfood.org/launch, where you'll get exclusive access to the offer, which again, remember, we're going to go in the Conquer Food community, we go deep into all these little strategies, and you're going to get first access to all these lessons. So imagine how you'll feel if you become someone like these. Perhaps you've been struggling with weight for a long time, perhaps even all your life, and imagine what you'll feel like when you're 100 kilos down, or even just a couple of stone, or maybe weight isn't your biggest driver, it's the actual control of the food, and you understand that if you can control the food, that everything else is a byproduct. Well, how will you feel when you get all that in order and you're sending the right information to the right parts of the body in the right way, and you're no longer controlled by unhealthy eating, cravings, or emotional eating? So in order to get rid of all that and to get those feelings and to truly succeed, here is the offer right now. So it's the pre-launch offer, $199, one-off payment. So you're getting 12 months membership to the Conquer Food community for the price of 3 months. I really hope that you're going to jump in on this and that you're one of the few. But what I would do is ask you just to have a little think about why you're actually watching this. Why you're here. What is it that you're really struggling with? And as the things that I've mentioned, I'm pretty sure that some of that will have resonated with you, and you'd kind of be thinking, yeah, I get that, I understand that, and maybe you're a little bit intrigued about some of the things that I've said. But one of the things that you will have done, you will now have had a little bit of an insight into the kind of thing that we teach and the thought that we've put behind this. This is not just handing you a 12-week training program that you take down to the gym and we'll try and work through. This is much deeper than that. Remember, we're going to really work on the roots, and it's the fruits of your tree that are going to bear that show the benefits. So what about like an investment of time and money in this, and is it justified? You might be thinking that you've already got a gym membership or a personal trainer, and that's fine. This is about getting more and more out of the things that you've already got. If perhaps you're thinking, well, I don't have a gym membership, is this still okay for me? And yeah, 100%, because, we're going to work on the mind. And when we start doing the one-to-one coaching or the small group coaching, and you have your, when you get in there with your peers doing the peer support work, we can start putting training sessions together that are suitable to you and your lifestyle. So this is, regardless if you've got a gym membership or a trainer right now, this is going to maximize everything that you've got. So it's not a case of, well, I've got to cancel gym to go to do this. This is additional. You need this on top, because like that picture suggests there, how many gym memberships are going stagnant, unused? How many times do you not feel like going to the gym and you're like, I wish I just had a bit of motivation or dedication to go, a determination to go? We're going to create that through the Conquer Food community. You might be thinking, is it for me because I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm not active, I've got an injury, I've tried all this stuff before and it's never worked, I'm not very good with technology and all this kind of stuff. Well, what I will say is, this is relevant to everybody. We've really worked hard to make this super simple and relevant to, eating habits and sugar addiction and poor eating habits, rather than your body composition and fitness abilities. It doesn't matter what size you are and how much training you've done in the past. What matters is that you've got a desire to change the things that you're putting in your mouth and the lack of exercise and your sedentary lifestyle. If you want to change all that, then you're exactly the right place. So you may be on the fence right now. Maybe you're like this cute little squirrel that's like doesn't really know and can't really decide. And if that's the case, then first of all, I just want to remind you of the total value of this community program, and also the fact that the price is going to go up significantly when we do our full launch. Remember, we're still at the minute in our pre-launch phase, and the price is going to rise significantly. We've only got a small number of places for this pre-launch offer. And the other thing is that you've got to remember that it is 100% backed up by a guarantee. So let me just, hang on, where is it? Can't find it. A 60-day guarantee. If you're not happy after 60 days, then we will refund you 100% of the money that you've invested in this program. I know you're going to be happy. I know it's going to be completely revolutionary in your life. Have a little think, take a little bit of time to think about the alternative. On one hand, you've got a clear roadmap that's going to show you how to get from A to B, regardless of what stage you're in your health, fitness and weight loss journey. On the other hand, you can carry on doing the things that you're doing and trying to work through this minefield of ineffective training advice, ineffective food advice and programs from people that are just out there to make a quick buck, and it's more marketing than any sort of real effective advice that's going to bring about any real change. So just think about that. You can carry on kind of almost banging your head against the wall trying to get different results from the same old program, or you can have an alternative that's pretty clear. An example of that is, how long have you been trying to battle weight by controlling calories? How long, how has that worked for you? How are you doing with that? Because we've tried it for nearly 60 years now, and obesity is still going up. What we do, we don't even count calories. We don't even look at the calories in food because, it's some of the most misleading information in the nutrition world. Because a calorie works in a test tube. The definition of a calorie is the amount of energy required to raise 1 litre of water by 1 degree Celsius. Well, your body's not a test tube. Food doesn't operate like that in your body, and different foods sends out different messages, and we're going to teach you all this. The next thing that I want to talk about is when and how. If you're not going to sign up for this now, when are you going to change your life? When are you going to do the steps that you need to take in order to get something different? And how are you going to do it? Because how long have you been sort of battling through trying to come up with a solution to all this? Now really is the time to get this cracked. So signing up is easy. All you've got to do is hit the button below, and if you're not on the actual conquerfoodies.com webpage, then you can go to www.conquerfood.org/launch, and you can take advantage of this pre-launch offer. 12 months for the price of 3. Take care.